wonders and signs. We are living in the end of times. Where is the love we once used to know? Where is the kindness we used to show? The heart of man is so full of hate. Let's make a change before it's too late. Too much killing, too much blood spilling. Silence, the hope of tomorrow is in our youth today. We've got to live in love. Crime and violence don't pay.
Good morning, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and we're back this morning with Cop Chat. This morning we'll be discussing the National Firearms Amnesty 2024. Surrender your weapon. It's a bad companion. You're listening to Ari, and with me is Roleza, and we have in studio Deputy Commissioner of Police, Frankie Joseph, Assistant Commissioner of Police, Trevor Bailey, and Station Sergeant Junior Batiste. Good morning, gentlemen, and Roleza.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
All right.
So the members of the Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force are here today to discuss the amnesty. And I'm sure one of you would like to introduce what the amnesty is this morning.
Good morning, and let me take this opportunity to say a pleasant morning to St. Vincent and the Grenadines and to the listening public of WEFM, those persons listening in the diaspora also. Yesterday, we had a murder, and that was committed by a firearm. The last time we had an amnesty in St. Vincent and the Grenadines was the year 2003. It was not as successful as we were hoping. But with the strings of firearms offenses that we have been encountering in St. Vincent and the Grenadines for the past years, we thought it was time enough for us to carry out another amnesty. Last year, we had roughly 42 of the murders that were committed by the use of firearms, and that is a significant number. And coupled with that, we had a number of cases where persons were shot, injured, they survive. We also had a number of cases where persons were shot after and were not injured. So when you look at all that, those firearms related offenses, it is significant. Over the years, crime in its entirety has been decreasing. But what we have been struggling with for a number of years now is the rising number of homicides in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Therefore, we thought it is overdue, long overdue, that we have an amnesty where we would ask persons with illicit firearms, to turn them in to the police. And during the period of the amnesty, once you turn in your firearm, there will be no prosecution against you. Absolutely no prosecution against you. So we do not want persons out there with illicit firearms to think that we are going to trick them. The document, the amnesty document, it is binding. Whatever we put in the document is exactly what we are going to do. And in the document, it tells you that once you surrender your firearm during the amnesty period, there will be absolutely no prosecution for you. So we are hoping that the persons out there actually would be listening to our programs, listening to the information that we are disseminating in the program, and turning those weapons, because we want the citizens of St. Vincent and the Grenadines to be able to leave their homes or be in their homes and feel safe. We had we had a town hall in Leon, and some of the residents in that town hall meeting, what they say is that they were even afraid to come out their house to go to church. We do not want to continue. We cannot continue that kind of behavior in St. Vincent and Grenadines.
Okay. Could you tell us when the last amnesty was?
It was 2003.
Okay, and I remember the PM announced an amnesty during independence. What was that period?
Well, this is the same amnesty that we are promoting here, and the period for this amnesty, it would commence on March 4th, 2024, and it would end on the 34th of May.
Okay.
So it would be 92 days for this amnesty.
So am I misinformed to say that persons had already started handing in firearms?
No, you're not misinformed.
Okay. How many firearms were handed over?
I think it's 5 firearms were handed over.
And
and that is outside of the amnesty. Because one of the things we encourage is like, even though the amnesty have not commenced as yet, we still encourage persons, if you have the firearms and you decide to turn it in, we are not going to persecute you.
Okay.
Once you turn it in for us. But if we happen to search and we found you with the firearm, then we will have to prosecute you.
Okay.
All right. I think one of the interesting things from reading the documents as well is not just firearms, but it also extends to replica or imitation firearms, ammunition, other parts of firearms.
Yes.
Right? So that is also something that the public should note.
Because if the police caught you with a barrel for a firearm, a nozzle for a firearm, a trigger, a magazine for a firearm, any component part of a firearm, you will be charged for unlawful possession of a firearm.
Yeah, but why replicas?
Well, the thing about it is that if I have a replica in my hand, okay, and I stick you up, can you tell whether or not it is a real firearm?
At 10 p.m. in the night.
Can you tell whether or not it's a real firearm?
Yeah, but what about persons who have those things for antique purposes? Because I know some people collect those, some people collect like swords and stuff just to have them decorated in their houses. So if it is that, let's say an officer happens to be present, maybe an invited guest realizes, okay, you have a replica, you have
in your home.
In your home. What happens then?
Well, the thing is that if you have, let's say, an imitation firearm, okay, and you are carrying around that imitation firearm, and we found you with it, then we'll charge you. Okay. But if you have it in your home, not using it, and what's that, it's different.
Okay, so the charge comes with public use.
Of course, with public use. Because if you have it in your home, whether for antique or whatever, you are not harming anyone.
Okay.
Because you can use it, and as I say, you will not be able to tell the difference. All you would know, it is a firearm and you are going to surrender.
But outside of this, if you were to conduct a search of a person's home, could they be charged for having a replica firearm?
Well, that is a rather interesting question that you pose. Because a conversation will have to take place in respect of who you are. We from a police point of view, your reputation will play a great part in whatever decision we finally arrive at. Now, I don't want to say blanketly off the top of my head to say, well, okay, once we find it, we're gonna charge it. Because each case must be dealt with its unique circumstance. Yeah? So let us not say blanketly, yes, you'll be locked up. But the whole scenario will have to be taken into consideration, and then we see how it plays out. Okay. But just before you move, right? Ari asked a question earlier, when was the last amnesty?
Mhm.
Yes, it was in 2003, and it ran from February 4th up to May, but there was an extension.
Mhm.
It was extended over to June 30th. So the entire period ran from February 1st to June 30th. And some 19 firearms were surrendered during that amnesty period. That's just a little historic background.
Okay.
Okay.
And that's 20 years ago. So what would you say about the state of firearm use and illegal use, sorry, then and now?
Right. It is more prevalent. The use of firearms is more prevalent. If I was to just take a quick glance and tell you between 2005 and 2013,
Mhm.
we had Siemens and Grenadiers recorded 220 murders, right? Of the 220, 95 were used, or 95 were committed by the use of firearms.
Mhm.
Take the last 2 years, 2022 and 2023, we had recorded on our books 94 murders, 71 were committed by the use of firearms. So the firearms use is real prevalent, more prevalent now than then.
Okay.
All right.
Just
Go
to
ahead.
interject a
Mhm,
bit,
go ahead.
right?
Mhm.
You made mention about having a imitation on your property
Mhm.
at home. Section 19 of the Firearms Act, that's chapter 386, speaks to having the possession of a firearm with intent to commit an offense.
Mhm.
So you having an imitation firearm or something of that nature at home. What this section is basically saying, if you have it with the intention to commit an offense. So I don't know if that answered the question.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
That is why I said we have to have a conversation and
Mm.
knowing who the person is.
So, right. So, right. Okay.
Or for instance, let's say that a report was made against someone who actually confronted someone with a weapon. That's the report.
Mhm.
And then we execute a search warrant by that person, and we found that weapon. Then
Right.
it would be a different,
Right.
different,
So, right. So,
yeah,
okay.
situation.
Even though it is an imitation, it
Mhm.
may very well be that the imitation firearm was used to commit the offense.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'd just like to remind listeners that the phone lines are open. The number to call 457-9997, and also the number to WhatsApp 457-9997 if you have questions for the officers who are here today.
All right. So, okay. So we have a call. Let's take this call. Okay, and callers, please be reminded that you have a time limit of about 2 minutes, because we're trying to get as much in this program as possible. So, good morning to you.
Good morning, my sister. Good morning, my brother. And thank you for allowing me and greetings to the police officer. Just let me say categorically, basically, nobody could just come and take you or arrest you for a gun. And let me give you a situation. So we had a situation on the front line where a guy was coming from his preschool and he had a gun in his bag, a toy gun for his child. He told the police that, and they still went ahead and brought the case. The case went in front of the judge, and the judge pulled them up. I want you all to be very careful. If somebody goes into a public place with a gun, brandishing it, such and such, but if somebody has a toy gun, basically it's stupidity. I know it's a dangerous situation to have basically a gun. We have to be very careful. Somebody could stick it up. But I'm saying you don't come to a person like Hammy and say, Hammy, because you're then a criminal. So you all have to be very careful. Because, I mean, for me, it seems like if you all are willing to throw the books at anybody, especially those who don't to a particular line. In terms of the sense of this gun situation, I'm glad that we talk about what happened in 2000. It failed, and this one will fail dismally because the problem, officer, you're not understanding that people don't trust the police. Not just Hamilton. I've done my research. How do you build trust? You treat the public differently. You change your public relations section. You speak truth when you come on the radio. Look, we found out that we are number one for crime. And you all been saying crime going down. Every one of you should be fired. Every one of you. I gone, man.
It is interesting that the caller stated that it is interesting that the caller stated that this amnesty would fail because nobody trusts the police. One of the things that we did before we actually complete this document is that we sat down the hierarchy of the organization and we look at the amnesty that we had in 2003 that was not as successful as we were hoping it to be. And one of the things that we thought about is that in that amnesty, the only persons you were surrendering your firearms to were the police.
Mm-hmm.
So what we did for this amnesty, we go further than surrendering the weapons to only the police. We add agents. So we have agencies in the document that if you are not comfortable surrendering your weapons to the police for different reasons, because people would give a number of different reasons why they do not feel comfortable surrendering the weapon to the police. So in the document, we have other agencies that you can surrender your weapon to.
And I think it would be good for you to say who some of these, well,
Yes,
to list
I'm
the agents.
You can surrender your weapon to a minister of religion, a justice of the peace, a lawyer, solicitor, and a lot of weapons that we have collected before were surrendered through lawyers. So that is a customary thing. But you have parliamentarians, you can surrender it to your parliamentarian who represent you if you want. We have firearms dealers, head teachers, or any person in the community that you feel that you are comfortable with and you can trust. You can surrender that weapon to that person. And in the document itself, it states that no information whatsoever will be collected from you. So the person who is receiving that firearm from you cannot ask you your name, your address, telephone number, nothing.
All right. And I also note here that on page 3H says any firearm located as part of a deceased estate may be surrendered as part of the amnesty as well.
Yeah.
All right. So I think that is also something that is important to note.
Take a stick up in there, Roleza, as it's 8:30. We'll break here and we'll be back shortly. But before we break, I'd just like to remind our listeners that you can win your share of $50,000 in cash and prizes from Flow. Up for grabs is $1,000 cash every week, home surround system, laptops, tablets, smartphones, Bluetooth speakers, and more. You can also be the grand prize winner of a $10,000 Visa cash card. All you have to do is top up $10 or more, sign up for any new service from Flow, pay bills in full, or switch to Flow, and you too can win more.
Do you want to feel clean or refreshed after using the bathroom, whether at home, work, or play? Welcome to My Smart Toilet Seat. All of our products wash your private parts after using the bathroom without the use of your hands. Let's hear what our national table tennis champion, Damian Dublin, has to say.
I tried it and it works. There are 4 options. Simply add an attachment to your existing toilet seat, or choose a non-electric seat, or better, an electric seat that washes and dries you with warm water and air. Lastly, get a complete smart toilet that also flushes itself. What are you waiting for? Get your smart toilet seat today. Be smart, be refreshed, be clean, be a winner like me.
Our smart toilet seat is available throughout St. Vincent at retail outlets with the orange flags. You can call us at 457-1703 or visit our website at justwashit.vc.
Gospel Power of Praise Promotions and Fidel Taylor Ministries presents Awake SVG, an evening of anointed, explosive praise and worship featuring from St. Vincent, Pearl McMaster, Fenton Harry, Otoisian Evangelist Cheryl Brown, Nigel Joseph, Maxine Coombs, Alfonso Richards, and the KBC Worshippers, Ronnie Richardson, the band Blessed, and Reverend Fidel Taylor.
Praise on the mountain.
From the USA, Gus Lynch, Shamel Russell, and Gregory Olive. Get ready, St. Vincent, for Awake SVG. Experience it live at the Russell's Auditorium, Stony Grounds, Kingstown, on February the 4th, 2024. Get your limited early bird tickets for just $20. Regular price $25, and at the door you pay $30. Get your tickets at Century Insurance, Nightingale, Pulse, Phyllis at Singer, Be Connected Shop at Camden Park, and from churches throughout SVG. proceeds in aid of the Rillen Hill Church of the Nazarene Restoration. There's also going to be lots of prizes and giveaways.
Praise the Lord.
Sponsored by Century Insurance, New Life Sound, and West Indian Development.
Our industry relies on all of us to play our part. We take pride in showcasing our beautiful island, our craft, our cuisine, and our warm Vincentian hospitality.
Each of us play a crucial role in showcasing our vibrant tourism industry.
We can create spaces where visitors can unwind, connect with nature, and embrace tranquility of our beautiful surroundings.
We need everyone on board to help us create an exceptional experience for our guests.
Join us at our National Tourism Community Consultations as we shape the future of tourism in St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
It's everyone's business. Yeah, love it, embrace it.
WEFM, the new fresh sound.
Cop Chat. You've got questions for the police? They're here to give you the answers on WEFM 99.9.
Such a cruel place. Something is wrong with the human race. Preacher man say it's wonders and signs. We are living in the end of times. Where is the love we once used to know? Where is the kindness we used to show? The heart of man is so full of hate. Let's make a change before it's too late. Too much killing, too much blood spilling. Each and every morning, it's weeping and mourning. We've got to stop all the crimes, erase the violence, let our voice be heard. We can't sit in silence. The hope of tomorrow is in our use today. We've got to live in love. Crime and violence don't pay.
And we are back this morning with our Cop Chat, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And if you're just tuning in, we're discussing the National Firearms Amnesty. And joining Roleza and I in studio is Deputy Commissioner of Police Frankie Joseph, Assistant Commissioner of Police Trevor Bailey, and Station Sergeant Junior Batiste.
All right. So I know that we spoke, or when we spoke about the agents who can facilitate this process in terms of handing in the firearms, right? But could we speak a little bit further on the method of surrendering, or what happens upon the point of surrendering?
Right. So, if I may, this amnesty, as outlined by the deputy, it's a no question asked amnesty, and there will be no compensation.
So we have a caller, so
Sure.
we're going to break a moment. Hi, caller. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. You're live. You can go ahead.
Yeah. In terms with the gun situation and the amnesty, I am not hearing much about the police or the government trying to stem the flow of gun that comes into the country, because I feel there is where most of the attention should be given. Stopping the guns from getting into the country. How does the guns get into the country? Because when we look at these young guys who go around with guns, they don't even have the contacts to bring guns into the country. How the guns get into the country, and what are the police plans? I mean, I know you can't talk about everything, but is there a plan? Is there anything in store to try and stem the flow of guns getting into the country?
Okay. Thank you, caller. You going to stay on the line, or?
I could call back and say anything. No problem.
Okay. All right.
Okay. We know for sure that illegal firearms are coming through our borders, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines is surrounded by the open seas, and before we purchased that Coast Guard vessel, Captain Mulsack, we had a lot more problems with weapons coming through our borders. And the invent of the Coast Guard put some slow down that stem of the illegal firearms coming through our borders because our Coast Guard vessel have the capacity to go out at sea and spend like a week or so patrolling the borders. And the base that we put in Kenawan, that also stemmed that flow. But what we have observed is that a lot of the firearms have been coming through the customs in barrels. And we all know it is not humanly possible for customs to search every single barrels container that come into St. Vincent and then the Grenadines. Otherwise, people would stay a year before they can collect a barrel.
Mm-hmm.
But I know for sure that customs and the port is moving swiftly to put in scanners so that every single barrels containers that come to St. Vincent and the Grenadines would be scanned.
Mm-hmm.
And those scanners have the capability to scan every single thing that is in that barrel. So they will be putting a scanner at Port Kingston and one in Camden Park. So that for sure is coming on stream, and I believe early in this year, in the first quarter of this year, that should be in place. The two scanners, one at Port Kingston and one at Camden Park. But as I say, our Coast Guard is constantly patrolling our waters with respect to the influx of illegal firearms coming through our borders. And I think it was the last quarter in last year, we carry out some searches at customs with respect to intel, and we found firearms in barrels.
Mm-hmm.
So we are working on that end, and as I say, with the installation of the scanners, so we are looking to stem that flow. But at the same time, the weapons that are inland, we have to work hard to get them.
Yeah, well, myself, as of intention, how confident can I be in the Coast Guard patrolling the seas, given that it took quite a minute for them to react to what happened in Beckway last month? Because when you speak to Coast Guard officers, there's a number of excuses. What if Coast Guards were just hanging out? What if they were what if they weren't really ready to just get the vessel moving to go and react to such an instance? What if there's a speedboat coming from God knows where that is able to penetrate the borders in which they are patrolling? How can I be confident in their reaction time now, given what I just saw happen last month in terms of their reaction time when there was a vessel right there in Beckway? But
I think from the information that was given, that the Coast Guard did reach on the scene.
Yes, 20 minutes later.
Did reach on the scene.
Mm-hmm.
What happened is that well, I'm not trying to make any excuses for them.
Mm-hmm.
You say it's 20 minutes later, but those fishermen were on spot. They were like 3 minutes away.
But the fishermen are the ones patrolling the borders. So but I have to ask.
But yes, what you have to take into consideration that the Coast Guard at some time or the other would be docked.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so then they have to leave there to respond.
So how can I now be confident? Because a lot of these criminals, a lot of the persons trafficking who usually have these firearms, they have some boats with some sizable engines and they go in at very fast speeds. So if it takes that long to react to an emergency like that, how long would it take to catch up or even intercept a boat that is bringing in a firearm?
Well, remember, Coast Guard in itself, you have different base.
Mm-hmm.
So if the one in Beckway is taking a while to catch up, they can easily call Kenawan, the base in Kenawan, or they can call the base in Calico. And also too, they have that cooperation with Grenada, St. Lucia, with the RSS countries.
Okay.
That they can also call so that they also would intercept whatever is out, trying to outrun them.
Okay. Well, without straying too far from the topic, we still have to discuss what exactly is the procedure in handing over the firearms under the amnesty.
So I was saying before the call came in that it is not a buyback. So we're not expending any monies to say, well, if you hand in firearm X, you will receive compensation Y. So it is not a buyback. Now you can do several things in handing over your firearm. You can prearrange that handing over. That is, you can call ahead and indicate that I want to hand over a firearm. And an arrangement can be made in you calling. Let's say you call the commissioner, and you say, Commissioner, I have 2 firearms that I like to hand over, but I do not want to walk into the police station, and I do not want to go by head teacher Chris to hand over. Could you arrange? The arrangement can be made. So we arrange to meet at a place and at a time, and the handover takes place. So there can be prearranged and methods in place for you to hand over.
All right. I know that you're using the word can, but from the document on page 4, it says members of the public or agents must not transport firearms to the police stations.
Hence the reason why we say it must be
prearranged. Right.
Prearranged.
Okay.
So if we have that information in advance, and because what we're trying to avoid, we do not want to create a situation where there is confusion. Let's say the RE is out and they're doing a stop and search, and they stop a vehicle and a weapon is found. To hear, well, I was on my way to hand it in. So we are trying to avoid situation like this. So we said, if it is possible, make pre-arrange. Don't wait until you're caught, then to use the guise of the amnesty to say that I was on my way to, when fully well it is not so.
Okay.
We also asking persons not to, let's say, try to dismantle the weapon in handing over.
Okay, so before you get to that, let's take another call. Right? Hi, caller. Good morning.
Morning.
Yes, you're live.
Morning.
Go ahead.
Morning, the Commissioner, the Deputy Commissioner. Yes.
Good morning.
Oh, morning, I hear talking about
Okay, you're not coming through very clearly. It seems to be breaking up a bit. If you're using Bluetooth, you could probably try to speak directly into the device, into your phone.
Okay, it's better now.
Okay, start again. That's there.
No, I was saying that the regulation talk about firearm, but I'm wondering if a person want to hand over a firearm and he keep the ammunition them in his possession. What is the position with that?
Oh, okay. All right. Interesting question. All right. Thanks for that.
Thanks for the question. The amnesty is not limited just to the firearm, the ammunition as well. So we're not encouraging you to hand over the firearm and keep the ammunition. No, it covers the ammunition as well. So maybe we didn't state it explicitly that it's not just the firearm, but the ammunition that comes along with the firearm as well.
Okay. Does the amnesty cover homemade firearms and crossbows?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. So you were going to speak on how to surrender the unauthorized firearm or weapon.
Right. So I was saying that we're not encouraging persons to.
I don't know if you're getting your point out today. We have another call.
Oh, well, it's okay. It's good to hear from the public.
All right. Hi, caller. Good morning.
Hi, good morning. How are you this morning?
We're fine. I think I'm speaking for all of us. We're fine.
Okay. Anyway, I from St. Vincent, originally from St. Vincent, but I live in Tartola. So I have an issue in St. Vincent where I need advice, right? My name is Joy Durant Daly. Okay, I'm from Lomans, you know, Hatley's village. I have a house up in Hatley's village where after my sister died, I put my aunt to live inside the house. But she taken one of her son and one of her grandson to live with her. But my aunt took a stroke sometime late last year, and she went back into her own house. So I need to get my house fixed and everything like that. So the grandson, I told him I need him out of the house. He sent me out a voice note, which I send the message for he and someone else's phone because I don't know his number. And I told him I need him out of the house, and he sent a message for me and tell me that he ain't coming out the house because he didn't ask to put in the house, and his grandmother put him in the house, and no police cannot move him from there. How we will have to end up in court and things like that. And I need him to get out the house immediately.
All right, so not quite on topic, but I don't know if one of the officers just want to quickly address that.
That was even right. So, Mom, I hear you. That situation can be a bit toxic, but I would like you to take this number.
Okay.
This is 1784.
Mm-hmm.
You got that? 1784?
Yeah, I got that.
491.
491. Mm-hmm.
47.
Yeah.
30.
30. Yeah.
Yes, please. So anytime after the program is finished, call that number and we'll have a conversation off air.
Okay, so call that number at what time?
Anytime after 9:30 a.m. this morning.
All right, then. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Have a good day.
Okay. All right. You too. Bye-bye.
All right, you were saying?
Right. So we asking persons to avoid handing over a loaded firearm, meaning a firearm that has, if it's a revolver, with the rounds in the chambers, and in respect to a pistol, the magazine inserted in the weapon. So we are asking that they be removed. Now, if you're not sure as to how to do that, but you keep your fingers away from the trigger guard at all times, and in the process of handing over, please alert the officer that I have not removed any ammunition from the weapon. It is loaded. So even though he's taking the weapon, and will be alert as to that possibility, the reminder from you that you did not remove will assist even for preventing any accident from happening. So once that is declared up front, we know how to handle it. We also asking persons to, if you place your firearm in a plastic bag, and if you have tape, you tape it tight. So we know it's not loose, it can't shake about. And we're also saying that any accessory parts that you have, so so if you have a firearm, but you also have an extra magazine, we're asking you to hand that in as well. Or if you have, let's say, a 9mm pistol, and you have the butt for a shotgun, we are also asking you to hand over the butt for that shotgun as well. So any component parts of any firearm, we are asking you to hand over those as well. We want to do the collection or the handing over of these weapons during the daylight hours. Yeah, that is our preference. But let's say somebody calls and prearrange, and for them it is more convenient that it may have to be done at a later stage. Then the police will arrange for such delivery. Yeah. So, but we're trying to avoid any exchange of firearm during the nighttime, because logically things can go sideways easy. So we prefer the handing over to take place during the light. But it's not to say that one can happen if we arrange and we both sides are comfortable as to where we'll do that exchange.
Okay. So we have a question here on the live. Good morning to all. What is the procedure? Okay, so when handing in, okay, so you spoke on that, so the procedure. Would there be a trail which will enlighten the police that this gun was handed over to my lawyer, past, etc.? The person saying, I could give my lawyer, etc., the gun, and it could never reach the police.
Right. So the issue of trust comes to the forefront, and the deputy clearly outlined earlier that a lot of firearms that we have in our possession that was surrendered came through lawyers. You know, we want to believe that, you know, our lawyers, our solicitors, persons of reputable character,
Or the listed agents.
and all of the agents. So we want to believe that persons of this caliber will not go through that process of concealing a firearm that has been handed over to them that is destined to the police. And we have that commitment, and as responsible citizens of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, we know for a fact that a process is being taken place, and that all of us are part and parcel of the process. So they're only an agent in the process. So I am comfortable that if it goes to a lawyer, it will end up at its destination with us, the police.
All right. So I just want to remind the listeners that the agents are ministers of religion, justice of the peace, lawyers or solicitors, parliamentarians, head teachers, or firearm dealers.
Yes, and it's not just as you correctly outline all of the agencies there. Trust is a two-way stream, and we have heard the outcry from citizens that they don't trust the police. But the thing is that we now have to be able to trust the citizens, and in turn we will be trusted. So that is the reason why we are comfortable, including those agencies, and we are confident that they will not withhold any of the weapons. So in that way, we are building trust, you know, between the police and the citizens.
So I'd like to paint a scenario. I have a firearm. I hand it over to, let's say, a principal. In receiving the firearm, you realize that it ties to an investigation. The principal then, I know directly to the police, there's no questions asked, you don't take any information, you don't know who the person is. But the principal happens to know who the person is, and they relay that information onto you. Does that affect the act, or is there another procedure that you'll have to take in a situation like that?
So I want to get this straight. I want to get you clear. So someone hands over a firearm to a principal.
Or any of the agents.
Any of the agents. Now, the strictness of the policy of the amnesty is that it's a no question asked. So no question was asked, but the agent who collect may have known something. And they highlight that to the police. If we're going to check the weapon.
If you would then now proceed to arrest and question that person.
We're not doing that.
Okay.
All right. And
we're not doing that.
And by extension to Ari's question, would any testing, ballistic testing, be done on the firearms?
We're not doing that.
So they're just being destroyed?
Well, I'm unable to say if it will be destroyed or if it will be kept at this point in time. But we are saying if the weapon is surrendered during the amnesty period, it is just that.
Okay.
Through the amnesty period.
Because if we produce this document and then we do otherwise, then it is going to put a dent on the reputation of the police force. And it is going to say to the citizens out there, you see the reason why we cannot trust the police? And therefore it would be 10 times harder for us to build and rebuild the trust that we are trying to build with the citizens of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. There will be no coming back from that.
Okay, so we have roughly 2 minutes left in the segment, but if there's anything that you'd like to highlight before we say our goodbyes this morning.
Yes.
Or even, okay, go ahead.
I want to take this opportunity to, because what we did with respect to the amnesty and the awareness, we planned a number of walkthroughs, and from the walkthroughs we go into town hall meetings and looking at the same amnesty. So next week, Thursday, we'll be having a walkthrough in Choppins, and we'll be having a town hall in Calico, discussing the whole issue of the amnesty and encouraging persons to surrender weapons. And the following week, which is on the 15th, we'll be having a walkthrough and a town hall in Georgetown. And we will also be having on the 22nd a walkthrough and town hall in Chateaubriand. But we are hoping to utilize all of the media houses with respect to enhancing the awareness of the amnesty. And we are really hoping that persons out there would heed our call and surrender whatever illegal weapons they have, because after all, you have families living here, you have probably children, and you will have children, some have grandchildren, and then you have to ensure that St. Vincent and the Grenadines is a safe place so that they can also can live peacefully.
All right. So in wrapping up, Bailey or even Batiste, there are two other questions that one in particular, maybe you can speak on in terms of what the penalty is for being fined with an illegal firearm. And also, given that it's been 20 years since we've had the last amnesty, and given the increases in gun-related crimes, is this amnesty going to be happening more frequently? So you can probably see how that's in the wrapping up.
In relation to the fines, as it is right now, having a firearm without a license, you can get up to 7 years imprisonment and be fined up to $20,000. There's a draft amendment to the Firearms Act. It's not enacted, that is a draft. We see some changes in the fines. So for instance, you see some changes where the fine moved to $5,000. So from like 20 to 25 to 30. And the years move from like 5, 7, 10, 15. All this depends on where the matter is tried. So you will find at summary level, which is the magistrate level, it would be a less fine. And yes, at High Court, which is indictable, it would be more. So these are some of the things that you would see in the draft coming forward.
Okay.
In wrapping up, let me say thanks to WEFM for having us this morning in Cop Chat to speak about the amnesty. And I just want to encourage persons who have family members who they are aware of that may have in their possession any illegal firearm, that we encourage the family member to surrender that weapon during the amnesty period. Let us don't get to the stage where the amnesty period expires and then you're caught with the firearm and you have to face the consequence, the court, where you had an opportunity to hand it in free, but now you're staring at a $25,000 or $30,000 fine or a 10 or 15 year imprisonment term. When if the day before you had handed it, it will cost you absolutely nothing. No time in jail, no cash from the bank. So take this opportunity and hand in the firearm and let us continue to make St. Vincent and the Grenadines the safest place that all will want it to be. Yeah, thanks very much.
All right, just to remind the listeners, the amnesty is from March 1st, 2024 to May 31st, 2024. Agents outside of the police are Minister of Religion, Justice of the Peace, a lawyer or solicitors, parliamentarians, head teachers, or firearm dealers. How to surrender your firearm? The firearm or weapon must be unloaded. If you're unsure how to unload the firearm, ask a collecting police officer for assistance. Place the firearm or ammunition in a black plastic bag or tape it closed to prevent alarm. Accessories such as parts may be surrendered at the same time, but must be placed in a separate black plastic bag or container. And lastly, delivery and pickups of firearms or weapons are to be done during daylight hours.
All right, so thank you guys for being here for another informative cop chat. We had calls coming in, we had messages coming in, but unfortunately we've come to the end. But you know, you're always welcome to come back at any time. So we look forward to seeing you on another occasion. So thanks again for being here.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you.
Welcome.
All right, the time is now 9:03 in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and it's time for your ECCB currency exchange rates brought to you by Bank of St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Brick by brick, piece by piece, building with technology, helping wealth increase, starting small.